All right, Gator, here we go. Down in Dallas, Jerry World, it basically has a giant window, right, which allows sunlight to come into the stadium. He wanted to make an indoor stadium but feel outdoor. Well, it basically cost the Cowboys a touchdown last week. It wouldn't have mattered. They're getting killed anyways. But CeeDee Lamb basically said, yeah, the sun was in my eyes. I couldn't see the ball. He couldn't catch it, couldn't score a touchdown. Jerry Jones defended this design by saying, hey, this should be an advantage for us. We're the home team. Do you agree with what he's saying? Is Jerry Jones right?
He's not wrong. I mean, it's the truth. They're the ones that would see it every home game if it's sunny out. I mean, they understand that. However, it doesn't mean that you're immune to sunlight. I mean, it just means that you might be used to it and maybe have to adjust your game plan. It came and bit them. But look, the architecture of the previous Texas stadium that they had was innovative and cutting edge at the time and did the exact same thing. It was this like T-top stadium that had bright spots on the field that were also distracting. And they're not alone. Minnesota and Indianapolis have the same issue when the sun comes through. So I don't know. It's interesting, and it cost them a game. I would have expected Jerry to go the opposite way and say, we're going to start darkening them windows.
You know,
tin them.
It doesn't give them any advantage. This is one of the most ridiculous things anyone's ever said. You could say we're used to it, but you can't control when your play and your player is looking into the sun. You could decide, okay, in the fourth quarter, we're going to go towards the sun so our receivers aren't looking back into it. But then your defensive backs are when they turn, when the other teams go in the other direction. Just get a curtain, man. And by the way, you're 0-4 at home. You haven't won a game at home all year. What are you talking about? It's an advantage. It's not an advantage.
Oh, Jerry.
So it's definitely not an advantage. And you're right, Doug. For this to be an actual advantage, you would need to build curtains and close them when you need to, and then open them up when it's in your advantage. The only way it's even possibly an advantage is if you pick the direction you're going in. But you have no control if you win the coin toss because the other team could do the same thing and pick the direction they're going in. So, Jerry, it's not an advantage. Doug, you know this. When your eyes are completely dilated, you can't see. It doesn't matter, man. You can't make yourself immune to it. Like you said, Gator. No. It is. I mean, we all have the same eyes. It's the same sun here. Yeah, it's not helping.
We all turn into vampires.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, Jerry, not advantage. All right, Aaron Jones. He just told me. I'm Aaron Jones. Sorry, Aaron Rodgers. There is an Aaron Jones in the National Football League, though. But I am talking about Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers just told the media he would like to play again next year. Should the Jets actually try this one more time with Rodgers or just eat the dead cap money for the next couple of years?
It's dependent upon how the season finishes for them right now. They are outside the top 5 in the draft. I would wait to see where I'm drafting if I were running the Jets, and if I were inside the top 5 and I had access to Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward, I would cut Rodgers. I don't want him to be the veteran that is bringing along my young guy. I would sign a vet, a true pro, the kind of guy that would be happy to be having a starting job, even if he was, an Andy Dalton kind of player to come in and have my youngster learn behind so that old guy could say, hey, while you're an up-and-comer and there's, mold on your shower shoes, you're a slob. When you're a Pro Bowler, it means you have colorful, you're flavorful, you've got personality. But somebody that could teach the young kid and hold his hand, and that would not be Aaron Rodgers. So if I'm drafting high, I would want that. I would want that veteran that's a better leader than Aaron Rodgers.
I'd run it back. I mean, you went out and you went all in getting Devontae Adams, and you've got other things there, the pieces you want to build on. They got a good defense. Another offseason, you might have a chance of making the playoffs again next year. Run it back. I understand what you're saying with the him not being the greatest mentor that's out there. But one thing I would do is I would draft a quarterback. And I don't know, you could probably get a shot at Cam Ward in the top 10. I mean, if he's the second best quarterback. So many teams that are bad right now already have the quarterback. They're just bad teams, and they need other pieces to make them better. So I don't think we're going to have a situation where there's like 3 quarterbacks in the first 4 picks. So take your chances there. And most importantly, do not let Aaron Rodgers have any input whatsoever on what you're going to do on draft day.
I understand the case for both sides, but as Gator once said, this just isn't working out. I mean, I think you got to eat the money. Maybe he is, maybe if they build a better team around him, he could be like Sam Darnold was earlier this year or Baker Mayfield, because he is an older quarterback at this point. But realistically, he's probably Joe Flacco. I think you eat the money. It's not going to hurt too much next year. 2026 is when it's like a $35 million dead cap, but hopefully you've got a rookie quarterback on a cheaper deal at that point. But if it's my decision, I would eat the money and move on. I don't think they can win anything with Rodgers as their quarterback. Okay, Deebo Samuel had a confrontation with his kicker Jake Moody and long snapper Tabor Pepper. It was all caught on camera. Do you have a problem with what Samuel did on camera in front of everybody?
Yeah, you don't do it that demonstratively on the sideline during the game. If you got a beef with the kicker, by the way, that should be handled in the locker room. It should not be handled in front of cameras and microphones, especially during the game. All right, what are you as a wide receiver going to tell the kicker that's going to change anything he does? All right, you don't think he knows he's had a bad day, that he's missed a couple field goals already, and he's costing you out there? Of course he knows it. Why make him feel worse just so that you can feel better and be the big man that you confront him on the sideline? And then it gets, it ends up escalating into what it did. Everyone's talking about it, and then you look like an idiot instead of being a leader that you need to be.
I have a problem with it. The only way I wouldn't have a problem with it is if Tabor Pepper or Jake Moody or all the specialists were over on the side screwing around, not practicing hard, and I haven't seen any indication that that's the case. Otherwise, quite frankly, you're not helping the situation. And this reminds me of people that go to city council meetings and stand up at the podium and have their friends video them blasting city council so they can put it on Insta. Look how cool you're doing it. You're trying to impress people with, hey, I just want it more. And I have a problem with what Deebo did. I don't think he should be doing that publicly. There's no point in doing it publicly. There's really no point in doing it. These guys know it was a bad day.
I kind of disagree. I have a problem with getting physical. He didn't have to get physical with the guy and swipe at him or whatever. But I have no problem with him yelling at the kicker and the snapper saying lock in, because I know kickers are a different breed and they're kind of on the sidelines a lot of times when the other players are doing their thing. But I feel like every player should be held accountable. And I've always thought this. How come no one's allowed to yell at the kicker ever? I just think it's okay to yell at them, and because they yell at their own teammates, whether it's defensive back or receiver or quarterback or your offensive lineman, everyone can get yelled at but the kicker. So I don't like the part, like I said, where he got physical, but I don't mind him getting in his face and say, hey, man, you got to lock in. All right, speaking of the Niners, are they a legit Super Bowl contender now they have Christian McCaffrey back?
Well, is Deebo going to stop yelling at people and blaming others? Run CMC came back, picked up where he left off. He averaged 21.2 touches per game last season, and he debuted with 19 last week. Didn't really run it well, but was effective out of the backfield. Yeah, it's foolish to count them out. There's an undercurrent of something being wrong there in San Francisco, not covering the team. I'm not really sure what it is, but I'm not counting them out.
Yeah, I wouldn't count them out either. I think this is a team that's just one of these classic, look, we know how good we are. When we need to win the games, we can win the games. We just have to get into the playoffs. Now, maybe they're not going to be hosting playoff games this year, and that'll be a shame for them, although they can still have a chance if they win their division. But they're a good football team. They were a good football team before without Christian McCaffrey, and they're a better football team with him, obviously. But Jordan Mason did a fantastic job running the football. The Niners as a team are averaging 5 yards per carry. I know he brings more. It's more in the receiving game. He averaged 11 yards a catch on 6 receptions last week. So he does make a difference. But this team was good beforehand. They're going to be really good now that he's back.
Yeah, I'm going to hold off on calling him a legit Super Bowl contender right now. CMC's got to prove to me he is actually healthy, but they are very dangerous, clearly. They, even with losing Brandon Ayuk, they have a ton of weapons over there, but I go back to the injury factors. CMC just coming back. Debo and Kittle seem to always be dinged up. And surprisingly, Arizona could get in their way of they might have to win the division to make the playoffs to see how this thing plays out. Arizona's ahead of them right now, but they're all compact together in that division. So not legit contender for me yet, but they are very dangerous. All right, Commanders versus Eagles, Ravens versus Steelers, Chiefs versus Bills. If you can only watch one game this week, which one would you choose?
For me, it's Commanders and Eagles. It's in conference. These are two exciting teams to watch. I like both quarterbacks. They're fun to watch what they can do. The defenses are aggressive and strong. Plus, when I look at the other games, I'm tired of Chiefs-Bills. I'm tired of the build-up with it. Steelers and Ravens would have been my second choice, but it's the AFC. Because it's the NFC, that's going to reign supreme with me.
Yeah, quick answer for me here. It is the NFC game because it impacts us in the chase for the number 1 seed. Go Foot Commanders tonight against the Eagles.
It's funny because that's my least favorite of these. I mean, I understand the conference angle with it, but I'm just looking at an excitement from a fan point of view. I'm gonna go with Chiefs Bills. I'm not sick of it. I think this is like Mahomes Allen could be like Manning Brady. Like these two guys hopefully are going to be entertaining us for years to come. And I know it's in the AFC, but this is, to me, the NFL is almost like one huge conference at this point because I watch so much crossover every week and all the channels are crossing over games and things like that. I love Lamar Jackson, super exciting. And Commanders Eagles, the surprise of watching Jaden Daniels do so good early is great. But I'm going to go with Chiefs Bills. All right, the Thanksgiving halftime performers were just announced. We announced them earlier this week, and it's usually always a musical artist of some sort. But guys, if you could pick having a great singing voice, playing one instrument great, or being an unbelievable dancer, which skill would you choose? And by the way, you cannot become rich and famous from this skill. It's just something that you have for your own personal, ability here, your own personal choice.
Okay, so if money's not the motivation,
yep,
what is motivating most guys?
It's motivating you, Doug.
What's getting you closer to or further from?
There it is.
Which is often the motivation guys I'm not using that as my determining factor.
Sounds like it.
I'm going to go instrument, although I think that can be impressive. And I'm going to go acoustic guitar. I'm going to channel my inner Freddie Frito. Have you ever heard of Kent Nishimura? If you haven't, go to YouTube and type in Kent Nishimura, and he is to guitar what Batman is to superheroes. He's unstinking believable with a acoustic guitar. I want to be
guys that starts banging on the guitar and playing it in all different ways.
He's a guy that plays
sound like it's 5 different guitars at once.
Yeah, he plays 25 or 6-4, and it sounds like there's 4 guitars. He plays
Chicago song.
Yeah, Tears for Fears. Everybody wants to rule the world.
Yeah,
he's
guy.
Incredible. So I want to be that guy.
You want to be that guy?
Yep.
Well,
he wants to be Japanese.
Listen, I'm comfortable with my singing voice. I'm comfortable with my ability to dance. It's not great, but
chair dancing's good.
Yeah, and it's not like I go out dancing, right? So it's, for me, you know what it's going to be. It's going to be playing guitar. It's going to be playing electric guitar. Those guys get the chicks. And if I could play really, really well, that'd be really, really awesome.
So my thought was, like, I really broke this down. Like, how many different situations, scenarios could you actually use this skill set that you choose, right? For singing, do I have to be a karaoke bar? Do I just break out and song out of nowhere, Or for an instrument, do I just carry my guitar around with me at all times in case someone wants to see my awesome skills? How many times do I go to a dance club? Maybe in my younger days, I would go to the bar and dance club a lot where dancing would make, a big difference for me, right? But with all that being said, in the age I am right now, I'm going to go with singing, and here's why. I don't care how many vocal lessons you get. If you can't sing, you cannot sing. I can attempt to learn how to play an instrument. I can attempt to learn how to dance better, but I think I'm going to go with singing because I think that's the hardest one to be really good at.
And there it is. That concludes the Wide 9 Omaha 4 down around the league Blitz thingy.